there, everyone. I'm meteorologist Cassie Nall, and this is your 10 Weather Impact Recap for the week. Let's start with a look at some of the top weather stories. In Hawaii, Kilauea volcano put on another show this weekend. This was episode 27 of an eruption that began back in December. Sunday's lava fountain lasted for about 11 hours and pushed molten rock nearly 1,000 feet into the air. Kilauea is one of the most active volcanoes on Earth. And from fire to ice. This may look like snow, but it's actually piles of hail. Yes, severe storms in Colorado dumped copious amounts of hail last week, and it accumulated so fast that it stranded cars. The city of Aurora even had to bring out their snow plows to clear the roads. Police and fire department personnel also helped to dig out cars stuck in the deep piles of hail. That's some crazy stuff. And let's go from ice back to fire for a moment. Did you see this last week? Hundreds of people across the Carolinas, Georgia, and Tennessee reported seeing a bright fireball last Thursday afternoon. According to the American Meteor Society, this was a large bolide meteor that burned up as it entered Earth's atmosphere, traveling at more than 50,000 miles per hour. It was so big that it created a sonic boom that was heard and felt across parts of the region as it broke up. Small pieces of the meteorite even hit a home southeast of Atlanta and broke through the roof. A bolide, or meteor this big and bright, is only reported a couple times a year, making an event like this relatively rare. In Florida, a tornado damaged dozens of mobile homes in Largo near the Tampa area last week. Beth Russo talked to a woman who recorded the twister on her doorbell camera.
The damage that you're seeing to this home happened because a tornado lifted the entire thing up and then set it back down. The windows are shattered. You can see the roof is gone. There's furniture that you can see through the actual house. This all happened while the owner was sitting inside, and the whole incident was captured on this doorbell camera.
There was a lady in there. I guess when the house went up, it stayed up for a few seconds and then popped back down. The whole house come up in the air, and she said she rolled around a few times, and then she had debris on top of her when the house finally landed, but she managed to get herself out.
Seeing this kind of damage and destructions, neighbors say they are so relieved that the homeowner who was inside when this happened is safe, and they say they're even more grateful for the way that the community has come together to help with the cleanup. Back to you.
The National Weather Service in Tampa did confirm that an EF1 tornado with winds of 90 miles per hour caused the damage to those homes. Also in Florida, a beach vacation turned terrifying for a group of Kentucky women when lightning struck the tiki hut they were sheltering under on Marco Island. Alex Velez has their story.
This lucky group of ladies from Kentucky say they're still here because of a miracle. This is a girls' trip they'll never forget, and to make it permanent, they're getting matching lightning bolt tattoos. What started as a relaxing beach day turned into a moment they can't fully remember.
Rain started coming down. Like there was no thunder, so that's why we stopped.
Take shelter until the rain subsided.
Yeah.
And we got under the tiki, and that's what happened.
4 women, all from Kentucky, on their first ever trip to Marco Island. Within seconds of taking cover from the storm, lightning struck the tiki hut at the JW Marriott Beach Resort.
I completely fell backwards. Like it's just like it knocked me completely out. Like I went unconscious, and then when I woke up, like I had a pounding in my head. Like the shock had went through my body. I couldn't hear. I could hardly see. I could barely walk.
The women were knocked unconscious. One of them has a bruise on her arm and another behind her ear and back.
I can recall myself just trying to run towards the resort because I knew there was a lot of people there, and I couldn't even stand.
People from the resort ran to help them. Marco Island police says the lightning never hit the women directly, but traveled through the ground after striking the tiki. They were taken to the hospital with minor injuries.
So we're here getting lightning bolt tattoos, matching tattoos, to remember our girls' trip and to just thank God that we're here to do it.
We also spoke to the woman who caught the strike on camera. She went back to her hotel room after the lightning alarm sounded and unbelievably captured the moment.
Yeah, it was a little nerve-wracking. So there were people under the hut, and so I was a little bit concerned for their safety, but it was so loud that it kind of like jolted me. But yeah, it was really loud.
Thankfully, everyone is doing okay and will be going back home with a wild story to tell.
I'm lucky to be here and we're so grateful to be here.
Back here in East Tennessee, Interstate 40 near the Tennessee and North Carolina state line reopened on Friday the 27th. Just 9 days after flash flooding and a rockslide closed a portion of the roadway on June 18th, TDOT crews were there to clear the mud and debris and get traffic flowing again with one lane in each direction. These are the same areas still under construction for repairs from Hurricane Helene last September. It's been 9 months since Hurricane Helene devastated East Tennessee and other parts of the southeast. While many areas are still working on ways to clean up the damage, there are also conversations happening for solutions to flooding in the future. Jillian Taylor shows us how some scientists and farmers are planning ahead for the next storm from the ground up.
Hurricane Helene changed landscape forever in areas like Chimney Rock and Lake Lure, where the French Broad River flooded streets and homes.
We've seen natural disasters increase by at least 2 to 6-fold in the past 5 years.
Jacob Hagedorn studies the environment at UNC Asheville. He says these kind of events are increasingly frequent and intense. It's a problem that grows on itself. Take trees, for example. They serve an essential function in our climate. But in Buncombe County, Hurricane Helene downed or damaged nearly 40% of tree cover.
Anytime that you can keep a forest, you're keeping that pump of carbon from the atmosphere into the soil alive. So that's going to help mitigate emissions.
Hagedorn says our focus now should be on slowing climate change. And one solution is right under our feet.
This is the story of farmers. I asked myself, what one thing now, of all the solutions to climate change that we studied, what one thing would I focus on? And it was soils.
Peter Bick is a filmmaker and researcher who's been studying climate solutions for more than a decade. His documentary Roots So Deep follows scientists and farmers researching adaptive grazing, a farming technique that turns fields into sponges, capturing water, storing carbon, and protecting against floods.
To lessen the impact of Mother Nature at this point, using Mother Nature in the way we grow our food is, to me, it's the best method we can think of.
Hickory Nut Gap Farms in western North Carolina uses adaptive grazing and saw the payoff when floodwaters hit in September.
Essentially, we had no erosion except for the roads and around the creeks. It's just flooded everything, so it's pretty cool.
Farm CEO Jamie Ager says building soil health took work, but it's worth it.
Actually, having land that's got healthy soils that can have high water holding capacity is certainly helpful for the context of flooding and climate change.
The scientific evidence is that climate change is here and has been and will continue to be. So whatever strategy it takes to cut emissions, should be the #1 priority.
9 months to the day since Hurricane Helene impacted western North Carolina, Chimney Rock State Park reopened to the public. The historic and unique rock that resembles a chimney and towers above the community can once again welcome visitors now that a new bridge connects the park to the town for access. The town of Chimney Rock was all but washed away when raging floodwaters rushed downstream in September. North Carolina Governor Josh Stein called it a ray of hope as he was on the site for the ribbon cutting. 400,000 people typically visit Chimney Rock State Park each year, so in addition to being a symbol of recovery, the reopening will also help to boost the economy. We have wrapped up the month of June, so let's take a look back at how things went. We started off soggy for the first 2 weeks, but then the rain chances became much more hit or miss. At the McGee-Tyson Airport, our official climate site, we finished the month with a 1.75-inch deficit, making last month the driest June in 3 years, while other parts of our viewing area dealt with flooding from those daily storms. We also had the latest first 90-degree day in almost 30 years on June 21st, but quickly made up for lost time, finishing with 10 consecutive days with highs in the 90s. This is the longest stretch of highs in the 90s in the month of June since 2011. June 2025 will go down as the 15th warmest on record, not just because of the afternoon highs, but also because of the overnight lows. Now, what does July have in store? Well, July is the second month of meteorological summer, and average highs are either 88 or 89 degrees. By the averages, July is also our wettest month of the year, averaging 5.25 inches of rain. Long-range outlooks from the Climate Prediction Center show a chance for above-average temperatures overall for the month, and also above average rainfall coming as we go through July. As far as the tropics go, July is also when we typically start to see activity ramping up across the Atlantic basin, especially toward the end of the month and as we get into August and September. Climatologically favored areas of development begin to expand across the Gulf into the East Coast and into the Caribbean as well as we go through the month of July. So far this season, we have had 2 named storms, with Tropical Storm Barry coming and going this past weekend in the southern Gulf, even more quickly than Andrea did last week in the Atlantic. We'll be watching areas near Florida for some potential tropical development and mainly heavy rain late this week and through the 4th of July holiday weekend. Forecasters may be working without critical satellite data during the peak of hurricane season this year. Last week, NOAA announced that it would discontinue access to key data collected by 3 weather satellites that the agency jointly runs with the Department of Defense. The microwave data that these satellites provide include 3-dimensional details of a storm, helping to pinpoint the exact location of the storm and know what's going on inside the system. This data is especially helpful overnight and when reconnaissance aircraft can't collect information. This is an example of what the storm data currently looks like, and this is what that same storm would look like with the proposed replacement data. So big difference in the details here, right? Being able to accurately locate the center of a storm is indispensable when it comes to tracking. The proper placement is needed for weather forecast models to predict who could be in the path of that storm and how strong the storm could become based on the environment it will move through. Microwave imagery can also show us how organized a system is, helping to indicate the potential for rapid intensification and predict the possible impacts to communities when that storm makes landfall. As of now, access to this critical satellite imagery is scheduled to end July 31st. We'll keep you updated. Now let's get a check of our 7-day forecast. Moving ahead, we're going to be drying out as we finish out the week and warming up. So for our 4th of July holiday, we don't really have to worry much about rain chances other than maybe up on the plateau or into the mountains just with the daytime heating pop-up storms. But we do have to still worry about heat safety. It's not going to be as hot this year as it was last year, but folks still need to plan to wear your sunscreen, drink plenty of water, and be smart and safe if you've got those outdoor plans for our Independence holiday. Moving into the weekend, we'll see rain chances returning as we go into early next week. Thank you so much for watching. And remember, you can always get the latest with your forecast in the 10 News app. It's free to download in the App Store.